waiting. For those who are not going for Qurbani, the ladies and maybe some of the seniors, they're waiting for the word that your Qurbani has been done. Now you go outside the tent, there are barbers everywhere, and you get your head shaved. And now the day of Eid, the rituals for the day of Eid are completed. There are 22 restrictions of ihram are lifted after the shaving of the head, or taqsir in the case of ladies. There are only 3. I'm a little behind here on this slides. There it is. Okay, so there are only 3 restrictions that remain. Okay, as far as the restrictions that were in place when you wore your ihram. The 3 restrictions that remain after your halaq or your taqsir: intimacy with one spouse, using perfume, and hunting. Okay, these 3 remain, and they get lifted at various further points down the road. Okay. So this is the 10th day now of Hajj, Eid day. Okay. There are a few more rituals that need to be performed. One is tawaf of Hajj, the 2 rakat namaz that follows the tawaf of Hajj, and sa'i. And the niyyah, I'm not going to go over here, but you can review them in the slides. These rituals can be performed either on the 11th night, or on the 11th day, or on the 12th night of Hajj, of Dhul Hijjah. Okay? And you'll find that various groups will form naturally, and some people will go on the 11th night, some on the 11th day, some on the 12th night, and they will perform these rituals. But they must be performed after halaq. Okay? After you perform the tawaf, 2 rakat namaz, and your sa'i, the restriction of using perfume is lifted. Okay? So now you can use perfume. Okay? All along, you take your unscented soap, because all this time you're still, have the restriction of using no fragrance. The next 2 rituals are performing tawaf al-nisa and the 2 rakat namaz that follows tawaf al-nisa. The tawaf al-nisa is wajib on everybody who is performing Hajj. Okay? After performing tawaf al-nisa, the restriction on intimacy with one's spouse gets lifted. Okay? Now, sometimes there's this confusion. What if I am performing this Hajj for a marhumeen, for example? The restriction is on you, not on the marhumeen. I mean, for them there's no restriction anyway. But the restriction is on you. So even if you are doing this Hajj for the nth time and you're doing it for only marhumeen, if you don't perform tawaf al-nisa and the 2 rakat namaz that follows, then that restriction on intimacy with your spouse remains on you. Okay? So one must perform tawaf al-nisa and the 2 rakat namaz that follows. And all the rituals as far as tawaf, namaz, sa'i are the same as what we described in Umrah, except the niyyah varies. Okay? But the rituals itself are identical. Okay. Coming to the end. So you can perform these tawaf, sa'i, etc. on either the 11th night, 11th day, 12th night, it doesn't matter. Okay. But there's also an obligation to spend 2 partial nights in Mina. Half the night on the 11th night and half the night on the 12th night in Mina. Either the first half of the night, from Maghrib till midnight approximately, or from midnight till Fajr. Either one of these halves, or both, you have to stay in Mina. A minimum of one of these halves on the 11th night and the 12th night must be spent in the tents of Mina. Not necessary to be in a state of wudhoo, obviously. On the 12th day, after Dhuhr, okay, after generally we perform our Rami, we leave Mina to go back to Mecca, and our Hajj is completed. So on the 12th day, okay, but on the 11th night, 12th night, you have to spend half the night in Mina. On the 11th day and the 12th day, the 2 days that you are there, or we are there, inshallah, we have to stone the 3 pillars. Okay? So on either day we only stoned one, the third one. But on the 11th day and the 12th day we stone all 3. 7, 7, 7. Okay? The same rules that we talked about earlier as far as stoning is concerned apply here, except that we're stoning all 3, and the niyyah is different for each of these 3 pillars because of the 3 different names of the pillars. And they have to be performed in that sequence, the first, the second, and the third. Okay, and you'll see that the flow of traffic is such that everybody is following one after the other. Okay, so you can't jump. You go 1, 2, 3. The stoning must be done during the day, between Fajr or sunrise and Maghrib. Okay, so if you go to Mecca to perform your tawaf, you have to come back to make sure that you stone in time. And we have to stone ourselves. Okay, if you are unable to stone for health reasons, for example, okay, people have been healthy leaving here, but get sick and are unable to go, then you can appoint an agent to stone on your behalf. Okay, so on the 11th day, you use 777, 21 pebbles. On the 12th day, you also use 21 pebbles. So you've used 42 on those 2 days and 7 on the first day. So you've actually used 49 pebbles. You're left with 21 pebbles. Okay, if for whatever reason you don't leave Mina until Maghrib on the 12th, and now it becomes 13th of Dhul Hijjah, then you have to spend the night. And if you spend the night, you have to go stone again. 777. That's where you use the 21. Okay? So most of us, if you're a good shooter, you'll only use 49. Okay? You don't need even one more than that. But if you're a lousy shot, you might need a few more, and you can use from the remaining 21, because most likely we're not going to spend the 13th night in Mina. Okay? So generally when we go we don't go with 7 pebbles, we take 8, 10 pebbles. In case one falls out of our hand, or in case one doesn't strike, or I am doubtful, then you use your 8th, 9th pebble, but you make sure that 7 strike every single time you go. So, very quick recap. The 13 rituals of Hajj. Ihram, the wukuf at Arafat, staying at Arafat on the 9th of Dhul Hijjah from Zohar to Maghrib. Wukuf at Muzdallifah on the 10th night of Dhul Hijjah, okay, which is Mash'arul Haram. And then on the day of Eid, 10th day of Dhul Hijjah, 3 obligations. Rami, which is stoning 1 pillar, Qurbani, and shaving of the head. Halaq. And then the other obligations are Tawaf of Hajj, the 2 rakat namaz that follow, Sa'i, which is going back and forth between Safa and Marwa, Tawaf al-Nisa, the 2 rakat namaz that follows Tawaf al-Nisa, spending a portion of the 11th and the 12th night in Mina, and stoning the Jamarat on the 11th day and the 12th day of Dhul Hijjah. Okay. Some other quick notes, which I'll take just 2 minutes to go over because you have these on your slides. Salat, okay. Refer to the slides, please. We're traveling from here, inshallah. I'm not sure how there are 2 groups here, I believe, how they're all traveling, but we're traveling from here to Istanbul, okay, inshallah. There'll be salat time on the plane. We're going for Hajj. Pray. Don't wait and have your salat become qada and then pray in Istanbul. Okay? If there is time for salat on the plane, pray on the plane, please. While we're traveling to Istanbul, we're traveling pretty much in the direction of Qibla, so it's not very difficult to find a spot. They will allow you to pray. Pray your salat very quickly and give others a chance to pray as well. You have to pray based on the time in the air. Okay? So you can't, if it's 6 o'clock or 4 o'clock Fajr, for example, right now, you don't pray based on Toronto time or Istanbul time. You pray based on Fajr time in the air. Okay? And there are apps, I think, iPhone apps that can give you an approximate time. And you can also look out the window and you'll be able to tell really what time is Fajr time. So while going in that direction, Qibla is not an issue. If they don't allow you to pray while standing, you can pray while sitting. Okay? On the way back, it becomes a little bit of a problem because you're facing the opposite direction. If they don't let you stand and pray, then you can pray while seated. At least perform your niyyah while in the right direction towards the Qibla, and then sit and pray if they're not letting you stand and pray. Okay? But if you're comfortable that there will be enough time, for example, Dhuhr time, there'll be enough time when you arrive in Istanbul that there's time to pray there, then you can pray in Istanbul. Just don't make your salat qada on the plane is the point. Okay. Full versus shortened prayers. In Medina and Mecca, we are musafir. Okay, we are staying for less than 10 days in both cities. However, because we are allowed to pray full prayers in both Medina and Mecca. Okay, even though we're musafir. Whether you're in the haram or in the hotel, you're allowed to pray full prayers, except for those who are going with HSC Africa. Okay, they're staying in Azizia in Mecca. If you're staying in Azizia in Mecca, then and you're a muqallid of Sayyid al-Khu'i, Sayyid al-Khu'i considers Azizia to be outside Mecca, and therefore you pray qasr. But if you are a muqallid of Sayyid Sistani, then Azizia is considered to be part of Mecca and you pray full. Okay, those of us who are staying close to the haram, then we recommend you pray in the haram. But if you happen to pray in the hotel, you still pray. You can pray full. You don't have to. You can pray full in both cities of Medina and Mecca. Jama'ah prayers. As far as the Shi'i belief is concerned, the requirements of the Imam of Jama'ah are not met in the cities of Medina and Mecca. What does that mean? What that means is that we cannot pray Salatul Jama'ah behind the Imam in Medina and Mecca if you are a muqallid of Sayyid Sistani. Okay? You pray with the niyyah of Furada. Okay? You stand shoulder to shoulder with thousands of Muslims praying, but you pray with the niyyah of Furada. If, however, you are a muqallid of the Rahbar, this is one of the differences, he allows that you can pray with the niyyah of Jama'ah behind the Imam of the Haramain. Okay? Okay. The other point is that the Imams in Medina and Mecca don't recite a second surah. They recite a passage of the Quran. Okay? So generally the passages they recite are much longer than the surahs we know. Right? So what do? You recite a second surah. Okay? If I'm reciting Furada, I'm a muqallid of Sayyid Sistani. I recite my surah Al-Hamd and I recite my second surah. The longest surah I know, I recite it. Okay? Surah Kawthar. I recite Surah Kawthar and now the surah is over. And he is going on for another 3 minutes. So I have a few choices. I either listen quietly. I can listen to the recitation of the Quran while he's reciting, no problem. Or if it is a surah that I am familiar with, he may be reciting Yasin, for example. Okay, I can follow along. Or the third option is for me to do dhikr. Subhanallah, walhamdulillah, wa la ilaha illallah, wallahu akbar, and so on. Okay, while he's reciting the remainder passage of the Quran that he's reciting. Prayer times. As far as prayer times are concerned, we are in sync with the Ahl Sunnah as far as prayer times is concerned, with the exception of Maghrib. Okay? As far as they're concerned, Maghrib sets in at sunset. As far as our fiqh is concerned, the time for Maghrib is a little after sunset, when the redness on the eastern sky disappears. That's when Maghrib sets in. And there's approximately a 15-minute lag, okay, from the time they give adhan to the time we're allowed to pray Maghrib. So you look at the clock. If the Imam stands up for Iqamah, okay, and right after the adhan, then it's not time for us yet. You pray a qada namaz, but after you come back and you pray your Maghrib again. If 15 minutes have passed by, there's no problem. You pray, okay? You pray your Maghrib on time. Sajda. In Medina, there are carpets everywhere. Okay, they have reduced the places where you can actually perform sajda. We are required to perform sajda on something that is not edible, okay, and something that grows naturally from the ground, grass, leaves, wood, okay. Obviously, preferable to perform sajda on turba of Abu Abdullah alayhi salam, okay. However, they don't allow the usage of turba in the haram, okay. You will find pockets of Shias. Some may be using turba. The local authorities don't like it. Okay, and sometimes they will grab it, they will kick it. Okay, so we generally tend to recommend people not to use turba. However, you are allowed to perform sajda on the marble floor. Okay, so if you get to the haram early enough, you'll find space where you can perform sajda on the marble floor. You can sit on the carpet and find a space where you perform your sajda on the marble floor. Last slide, Salatul Mayyit. You will find when we are in Medina and in Mecca, after every salat, you will find there's an announcement that we're reciting Salatul Mayyit because people are dying all the time. Okay? And out of respect for the Mayyit, we stand up and join them in Salatul Mayyit. You don't leave while Salatul Mayyit is being recited. The short form of Salatul Mayyit, you will find in the Risala of Sayyid Sistani as well. I mean, we recite the long form when we recite Salatul Mayyit generally. But the short form for Salatul Mayyit is 5 takbir. After first takbir, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Second takbir. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Third takbir. Allahumma ghfir lil mu'minina wal mu'minat. Fourth takbir. Allahumma ghfir li hadal mayyat. Fifth takbir. Khalas. Okay. So very short form of Salatul Mayyat, and we recommend obviously that out of respect for the person who's passed away, that you join them in Salatul Mayyat. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Thank you, Akil. It's a very difficult material to cover in a very short period of time. So let's have one more loud salawat for Akil, please. Allahumma salli ala. And I was watching all of you, especially the men, and I didn't see anybody sleeping. So we should recite one loud salawat for all the Hujjaj here and listening online, please. Salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. The only person who was sleeping behind was Inayat. Maybe he. Okay, we don't have too much time. So what we will do is, before we open up for Q&A, I just want to make sure that everybody understands that all the groups generally traveling for Hajj, most of us, will be going to Medina. We will have 4 to 5 days in Medina with full lectures, and you'll have ample of opportunity to ask questions, and the scholars will be having breakfast and lunch and dinner with you. So there's lots of time to ask questions, number one. Number two is we will send you an email address for Akil Bhai as well, and also all the leaders like Inayat Bhai, Shakil Bhai in the US. So if you have any logistic questions, when you are leaving, what's the issue about visa, etc., you'll have those emails and their phone numbers, so you can call them and ask the questions as well. So in the interest of time, we'll take questions for 5 minutes. We have 2 small agenda items which I want to cover with you, and Inayat Bhai will then close, inshallah. I know most people have made arrangements for the children and they need to get back. Your mind is starting going back home. We can see that, we can feel it, but inshallah in just few minutes we will finish. Yeah? Let's have one loud salawat, please. Okay, so the first question, Akil Bhai, it was directed to Sheikh Jafar. It says that Sheikh Jafar mentioned about one tradition from our 6th Imam, that the process of Hajj is similar to the process of death. Could you please elaborate on this?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So, when you look at the spiritual dimensions and the symbolic actions of Hajj, Sheikh Jafar talked about or alluded to this point, but the wearing of the kafan, for example, okay, is very symbolic of wearing your kafan. Okay, wearing the ihram, is very symbolic of wearing your kafan, where you're appearing before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in utmost simplicity. Okay, you perform your ghusl, you wash away all your sins, but you appear before Him like everybody else, just as we will appear on the Day of Judgment in our kafans. And so throughout the various arkan of Hajj, inshallah, in the various groups that you will be joining, the scholars will talk about this particular dimension as far as every ritual is concerned. But just to give one example, this is what Imam Sadiq alayhi salam is referring to, that if you that the various arkan of Hajj are as if you're killing yourself and gaining a new birth. Okay, when you assemble in the plains of Arafat, for example, it is as if you are on the plains of the Yawm al-Qiyamah. Okay, and we have an opportunity, inshallah, to be born alive or to be born again and start our lives afresh, inshallah, after our stay in the plains of Arafat, inshallah.
Does anybody from the audience have any questions? Okay. Yeah. Repeat your question on the mic, please.
Yes, I can hear. Yeah, so the question was, can you do your niyyah in your mother tongue? I think I said that you don't even have to pronounce your niyyah, because niyyah is that unconscious intention. So you can do it in any language, okay? You don't have to do it in English, in Arabic, or anything. You can do it in any language, or you don't even have to pronounce it verbally. As long as you have the conscious intention that you are about to perform this act, whatever the act that may be, whether it is performing the qurbani or the stoning, whatever the act may be, you are consciously aware of the act that you are about to undertake. Yes. Yes. what happens, the question was what happens to the meat of the qurbani. There is a requirement of how you distribute the meat. Inshallah, we'll cover that in, I was very short pressed for time, so I didn't cover that. But inshallah, that is looked after. Okay, so we will cover that, inshallah. We can discuss the details of how the 3/3 are split and distributed, but in the interest of time, inshallah, that's something we can cover there. If that's okay, please. Yes. Yes.
The first round of the tawaf,
Now.
you said we end the round after the Haram Be.
Yes.
How does it work? Because this next round, where is going?
Okay. Okay, so the question is that I said that the first round of tawaf ends at Hajar al-Aswad. Let's assume that this corner is Hajar al-Aswad. So every round begins at Hajar, every round ends at Hajar, okay? So which means that if I'm performing my first round, I'm just about to begin my tawaf, I perform my niyyah here, okay? And then I cross Hajar al-Aswad, I go around once. At this point, I have finished one round, okay? You go around second time, third, and so on and so forth. At the 7th round, I go a little past Hajar al-Aswad, so now I'm certain that I have finished 7 rounds completely. Is that clear? Yes. 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 So the two questions were, do I have to take my kafan with me? No, you don't obviously have to take your kafan with you. You can if you want to, but inshallah we all come back alive. But as Sheikh Jafar said, there's no better place to die. But if there's a kafan needed there for anybody, and there have been instances where people have passed away, then the kafan arrangements can be made there. The second question was, if I am a muqallid of the rahbar, do I have to pray in jama'ah? If you are a muqallid or rahbar and you are in the haram, why would you not take advantage of praying jama'ah when you are there amidst thousands of Muslims? And he allows praying jama'ah. For muqallideen of Sayyid Sistani, we highly recommend, there is so much thawab, inshallah we'll cover, so much thawab for praying in the haram. So even if you are not praying jama'ah, go to the haram and pray with them shoulder to shoulder. Even if it's with the niyyah of furada, they don't need to know that you are praying furada. You pray shoulder to shoulder with all other Muslims. This is part of the unity of the Muslim ummah. Now, yes.
Excuse me, I have a comment. My comment is, according to Aghay Sistani, Mr. Sistani, if you do Hajjatul Wada by the intention of the wajib, that is equivalent of the Tawaf al-Nisa. If you do, Tawaf al-Wada
Yes.
by the intention of the wajib, that is equivalent of the doing a
Of Tawaf al-Nisa.
Yeah, this is according to Sistani.
So I have to check that mas'ala. As far as I'm concerned, obviously Tawaf al-Wada is not wajib.
No.
Okay.
If you do it as intention of the Tawaf al-Wada,
Okay.
Tawaf al-Wada, you do it as the intention.
Of it being,
Wajib
yes.
is equivalent of the Tawaf
If you have the mas'ala specifically, I would like to have a look at it because I have not.
That's the comment I made.
Okay. As far as I'm concerned, as far as I'm aware, I have not come across that mas'ala, but I can check for you. Inshallah, I'll check for you.
I don't need it to check. That's what I'm saying. I know it.
Okay. Shukran. Thank you.
You're welcome. Because,
Okay.
due to the circumstance,
Yes.
my relative, they ask them directly from their office. And
It's possible if you have checked with the office of Sayyid Sistani, it's possible. No problem. That's fine.
My email is in Persian. It's not in
That's okay. We can translate from Persian. No problem.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Why we call it Hajj Tamatta?
So repeat that question again.
Why we call it Umrah Tamatta and Hajj Tamatta?
Why we call it? Okay. So that's. Let me discuss that with you offline, inshallah. Okay. Yes.
If you are praying with mud,
Yes.
the only place you find a carpet to do sajda. So what do you do if you are a follower of Sistani? And the second point is related is about the qunut if you are doing Jamaat.
So the two questions were, if you go to the haram and you don't find a place where you have a marble floor and you're doing your salat on carpet. Let me answer the first question. So generally, I think we're giving musalla. Okay. So we normally give prayer mats to everybody, and the prayer mat has a straw section at the top on the front, so you can do your sajda on the straw on that prayer mat that we have given. Okay, and we recommend everybody to carry that portable prayer mat with you in case you're stuck with a situation where you don't have a place to do sajda. In the absence of that, let's say you forgot your prayer mat. Okay, Sayyid Sistani allows you to do your sajda on your hand. Okay, you could do your sajda on your hand. The second question was qunut. Qunut is mustahab. It's not wajib. Therefore, you don't have to do qunut in salat.
What about the tissue paper? You can sajda on a paper?
Tissue paper. So, I haven't seen the mas'ala, but I hear Sayyid Sistani does not allow the sajda on tissue paper anymore.
Last one. Any more questions before we close? Okay, go ahead.
I don't know if this is appropriate or not, but I'm going to ask. For a couple, how much money we supposed to take, like in American funds?
Okay, so here,
they accept MasterCard in case?
So, answer the question is how much money should a couple take? That you should be asking your spouse how much gifts amount you have to buy for. So, of course, it's at your discretion. The most of the cost, as far as the Hajj package is concerned, is covered, but you need some spending money. So, people take $500 per person, but depending on what you want to buy, how expensive it is, etc. If you're planning to use credit card, they do accept in major stores, but they will charge you the 2.5% extra. Okay, so it's important that you take that into consideration. But generally, Canadian currency is also acceptable. If you have a US dollar account with you, then you withdraw money from the US funds because they like to take US notes, and the newer notes, they like it better. The exchange rate is 100 US to around 373 Saudi riyals, 374, 375. Near the Hajj time, it will drop to 370, 371. Okay?
They accept American dollars there?
Yes, cash. They accept more American than Canadian dollars. But Canadian, they have accepted as well. Okay?
I have a quick question for you.
Yes.
Is it mandatory to remove your all hair on the Hajj, or you can remove it all? It is mandatory.
Halak, is it mandatory, or you can remove just a little bit of your hair?
Okay, so hair, right? So for those like me, hair doesn't grow after Hajj every year. But so it is recommended. So two things. One, it is recommended not to cut your hair for a month before you leave. Okay, here. So you'll see, inshallah, if I get my visa, I'll start growing my hair again a month before. Okay. Once you arrive in Mecca and Medina for Umrah, you cannot do halaq, obviously, only taqsir. After Hajj, it is highly recommended, if it is your first Hajj, to do halaq, but not wajib. Okay, you can just clip your hair if you wish.
Is that a month before you leave? Or?
Yeah, approximately. A month, yeah, a month before you leave.
What are the timing for doing the tawaf?
Oh, the haram is open 24 hours. Yeah, so you can do tawaf anytime. Okay, so the question via email is that if it's too busy during tawaf and I doubt that my foot is bleeding and I cannot look at my foot, what do we do? You have to make an attempt, okay? Even if it's that busy, I can tell you, even if it's that busy, there is opportunities to be able to look at your foot, okay? You can create some space and look at your foot if there is a concern that it's bleeding. If your nails are not long, okay, the chances of you bleeding are slim to none, okay? Even if someone stomps on your feet, but if your nails are long, then there's a chance that you might cut yourself and bleed. But there are ample opportunity to be able to determine whether or not you're bleeding or not. Okay, so that's not a fiqh question. I will let him answer.
Okay, so what we will do, I'll cover that in my presentation briefly. So we will now close the Q&A, but as promised, we will give you the email address, phone numbers, etc. So please feel free to ask any questions. Also, we'll finish around 5, and we will stay behind for people who are in Toronto, so you can please feel free to ask any more questions to myself or Akil Bhai as well, okay? And
One question.
yes.
The people going with Shabir Darthi can also send you an email, or?
Yes, no problem. Yeah, always. remember, we are going for Hajj, so we are all going as a big group. We are divided into smaller groups, so for logistic reasons and visa issues and all that. So, okay, and what I'm going to cover applies to all the groups. You just have to, make small changes in terms of your flight numbers and all that. But the points I'm going to cover are just general tips. Inshallah, I'll try to be brief, and inshallah we can finish. So, most of you know your travel arrangements. The important thing is you have to arrive 3 hours before, okay, at the airport. Remember to rest in the plane. We have a long journey going through, so inshallah, take as much rest as possible, and remember to utilize your time wisely. That means if you have your Hajj material with you through your iPad, iPhone, printed material, please utilize that during the time on the plane or in between transit time. So we have used this example of Turkish Airlines. Last year we went through Egypt Air, and I know a number of Hujjaj traveling in different groups will have different travel arrangements, okay? Okay, this is Medina, you already seen, and Sheikh Jafar mentioned, right? We have to be prepared when we arrive in Medina, okay? You have to have your mindset to arrive in Medina. So I will not repeat in terms of all the material which Sheikh Jafar said in terms of the 6 masumin, feel the energy, etc. But I just wanted to cover 2 important ayahs from the Quran, and this is important because, okay, the Prophet has a greater claim over the believers than they have on their own selves. This is very powerful. Allah owns you. He created you. But the Prophet has a very similar power over you. So if you decide to buy a house next door, it's your money. But if the Prophet says you cannot buy that house, you are done. He has authority over you. So the reason we put that ayat there is for you to understand the personality you are visiting, okay, and the proximity you are in. The second ayat of the Quran is there that the people we do salam there, the 6 masumin, are alive. That's why we say Salamun Alaikum, right? They are not dead personalities who we are visiting, right? So again, very, very important for you to understand that, right? Okay, the second ayat there is also very, very important, okay? Generally, when you're in Medina, you will see big boards that you cannot ask your hajats through dead personalities, okay? The reason there's an ayat in the Quran which says we can use the Prophet as a wasila. That's why we recite Dua Tawassul. Right? So again, these are proofs from the Quran we want to share with you. So when you are there, you don't get sidetracked with the boards and the other propaganda you see there. Okay. So inshallah, when you arrive in Medina, as you saw in the video, right, we will complete all the passport formalities, and we will have buses arranged from the airport to the hotel. The important thing is you make sure that your luggage went up on the bus. Generally, we don't use trucks there. They put all the luggage on the top of the bus. So make sure your luggage is put on the bus before you board the bus, okay? Now, generally what happens is as soon as we arrive in the hotel, there will be lots of luggage, there will be lots of people. Be calm, be patient. There will be room lists on the wall in the Medina hotel, and you will see who are your roommates for the time in Medina. Anybody who would like to request to share a room, they can send an email for this group which you are going with Inayat Bhai, or you can send your request to Shakil Bhai if you are traveling from the US. The email address we will send is smegji@rogers.com, and most people traveling from the US knows Shakil Bhai's email address, okay? So how many people to a room? I'll answer that question. Basically, in Medina, it's around 4 to 5, and in Mecca, 3 to 4. Now, last year we tried to be smart. We were in Cairo. We had lots of time. So we announced the roommates and the room list in Cairo so people don't rush to the wall in Medina. As soon as we arrived in the Medina, right, our floor plan had changed. So we had some people like 7 to a room or 8 to a room. So remember, we plan and Allah plans. And who's the best planner? Allah, right? So things will happen, and we will go through the logistics as they come along, okay? All right, so depending on the timing we arrive in Medina, it will be early in the morning. By the time the rooms are being done, we may ask you to go and refresh yourself, have some breakfast, have something to eat, calm down, take it easy. You're in the holy place, and we'll sort out the rooms, and the luggages will follow through after you have settled, okay? Now, what will happen is we need to be prepared to visit the haram, right? We cannot go to the haram of the Prophet without wudhoo. Kilbai mentioned all the rituals, like the steps you go through, you have to be in a state of purity. But when you are visiting the Prophet's haram, you have to be in the state of wudhoo, right? You have to carry a water bottle with you, because if your wudhoo breaks, you don't have to run all the way to the hotel. And technically speaking, you cannot do wudu with Zamzam water. Okay, that's supposed to be for drinking water only, right? So that's a technical issue there. A lot of people asked, okay? You have to have a small shoe bag. We will provide that to you. You have to carry your shoes with you in the haram, something different than we are used to here, right? So you keep it beside yourself, and then you pray your namaz, and once you exit, you take your bag, and then you leave, okay? All right. Lately, they used to have an issue with camera, but most of the time they allow cell phones now which have cameras. So sometimes they do make an issue out of it, but most likely it will not. So you can take your dua books in the haram. We have to recite Ibn al-Dukhul when you enter the Prophet's haram, okay? This is not an ordinary place. It's not, for example, JCC or Masnami Islamic Center. You just leave your shoes and you enter, okay? And all the dua books have this Ibn al-Dukhul as well, and you can recite that, okay? Ladies have different timings to go to the haram in Medina, so there will be volunteers who will guide our ladies. And for men, for the first timers, we make smaller groups. So we go with you, we do this Dukhul, we will recite the ziyaras together. Once you have done the first time, second time, then you can go on your own anytime, recite your amals and duas and namaz, everything, okay? Ladies have a very small area in the haram, so if you are not in time or if you don't go early, you'll have to pray outside in the sahan, okay? So you have to just watch about that. Again, we'll have some guided tours. We'll take you inside the mosque of the Prophet, and there are different pillars, right? There's significance of each pillar. You have to review that in your dua books, and inshallah we can make arrangements to go as well, okay? All right, okay. So this is fine. We'll send you the slides as well, so you don't have to write all this, okay? Okay, what is a typical day in Medina? A lot of people ask. You have 4 or 5 days, okay? What do you normally do? So generally you wake up early for Salatul Layl, okay? Then you go to do the namaz, wajib namaz. Then you proceed to Jannatul Baqi for the ziyarat of the Imma there, right? We mentioned, as Akil Bhai mentioned, we pray all our wajib salats in the haram. Don't pray in the hotel. There's like, if I remember correctly, 1 rakat is equal to 100,000, Akil? 100,000 rakats. So significant bonus opportunity, right? Again, feel the energy. You are in the midst of 16 masumins out of 14. Imagine the power. I mean, duas should be accepted there, right? Inshallah, okay? Do not miss any lectures. We will cover all this masail, complicated tawaf masails which Akil Bhai went through, right? Again in the lectures. And also we announce all the logistics, and this is similar to all the groups. They all have lectures, they all have logistics announcement every time. They have a specific time for it. So if you know when are we going to Mecca, you have to be in the lectures to answer that, right? If you ask a question which has been covered in the lecture the night before or the day before, then Inayat Bhai will say, which part of English did you understand? Okay? So if something has been covered and you ask the same question, Inayat Bhai will be upset with you. But if you can ask me and Akil will repeat the answer for you, don't worry. Okay. All right. Okay, the important thing here is, as Sheikh Jafar also mentioned, do not argue with the guards there. Okay, we go and recite our ziyarat of the Imma, and we come out of the Jannatul Baqi and proceed to the hotel. You will see a lot of arguments going between our other Shia brothers with the guards there. Don't try to listen to those arguments, because if there's a stampede, you may be hurt. If they come up and take a few people inside, you're part of the people who are now being taken for interrogation and questioning and answer. You do your part, you go and recite the ziyarat, you come out. There's no point in convincing a Sunni brother into becoming a Shia or trying to enter into an argument. You just do please your part. These are very, very important, because we have had issues. If they take you in, there's a logistical nightmare. Hours and hours will go to free you from those authorities, okay? Ladies, as just a reminder, are not allowed to go inside the Jannatul Baqi. Inshallah, they'll be taken in a group. They will do the ziyarats from the outside, okay? This is very, very important. Again, this tips apply to all groups, okay? Be ready exactly when we go for outside ziyarat. You saw in the video, we will inshallah go to mountain of Uhud, we'll go to Masjid Qiblatain, we'll go to Masjid Quba, right, etc. But we have to be on time, okay? All right, make sure you have gone to the washroom and you have done the wudhoo before you board the bus. This will save us time. There'll be some places where you can do wudhoo and go to the washroom, but if everybody goes, 80 people go in the washroom, we'll waste lots of time, okay? Once we have arrived at a specific site, let's say mountain of Uhud, please respect that I will tell you in 20 minutes we are boarding the bus back. Okay, do not wander around shopping because you will see lots of tables, lots of things being sold. Please be mindful of the time. Okay. This is the last one is very important. If you're going in a bus, if I'm sitting beside Akil, I have to make sure that on the way back I sit beside Akil because we don't count people like goats or sheep. We tell them, is your partner missing? So if Akil is not there, I quickly know Akil is not there. But everybody has their partners right beside them, the bus moves. With me? Okay? Okay, departure from Mecca. Inshallah, as Akil mentioned, we will do our ghusl and we wear the ihram in the hotel. Physically wear the white pieces of clothes in the hotel. Once we go to the miqat, we just do the niyat. We said our sunnat namaz and maghrib namaz, isha namaz, inshallah, because we'll be traveling in the evening. Then we do the niyat, we tighten up the ihram, okay? Okay, very, very important for all of us to read the talbiyah and what does it mean in the hotel so we understand that when we recite the talbiyah, what are we exactly saying, okay? This is important. We will remind you in Medina for that, okay? Okay, it's very important that we go in a group in Masjid al-Shajara and we'll make smaller groups to do the niyat. But again, it's a big mosque. Everybody is in white. So again, this is a reminder that please be in groups as you are told. As soon as we arrive in Mecca, we will go to our hotel first. We're going to go up in our rooms, refresh, okay, drink water, do wudhoo, have a little bit to eat. And then we'll do small groups who will take you to do the Umrah Tamattu. We have a lot of second timers as well, especially from Vancouver, who will be relying on, and anybody who has done Umrah before to take people who have not done, who are going for the first time. So the group may be 5 or 10 people, etc. Nothing more than 10, inshallah. So then you have got almost as much personal attention as possible to get your Umrah done correctly, okay, and on a timely basis as well. Okay, what will be a typical day in Mecca? Again, we recommend all wajib salats to be done in the haram. Okay, remember your salat is full. Okay, in order to get a good spot in Masjidul Haram, you have to arrive 1 to 1.5 hours early. Otherwise, you may be ended up paying in the sahan outside, okay, or in the street because it's packed. Okay, to get a good spot, you need to arrive early. Okay. Make sure you carry your shoe bag with you inside the haram, similar to Medina. Akil Bhai just went over the rules about praying behind a Sunni alim. Okay, there are other sunnat acts you can do about reciting Surah Baqarah on Mount Safa, inshallah, and Dua Mujir, etc. And in Mecca, instead of going by bus for outside Ziyarat, we go walking. So we'll walk from the hotel to the haram to Jannatul Mu'alla, which was shown in the video presentation as well. But it's a walking ziyarat, okay? All right. We have not sent out the packing list deliberately because we don't want you to focus on packing until you hear the seminar, the important things you just heard. So in the next few days after Eid, we'll send you out a detailed packing list. And again, there are lots of shops in Medina and Mecca, so lots of things you can also buy. So Travel Light will send you the list. This is just a snapshot of what you need to carry to our trip to Arafat, Muzdallifah, and Mina, and we will send you this slide. But this is just a suggestion in terms of what you need to carry. But the detailed list, as somebody asked what we need to carry, you should be able to travel within one suitcase. A regular, clothes is fine. There are laundry facilities in both Medina and Mecca. Sometimes they get expensive, but it's still better than carrying 2 suitcases, especially if you're going from North America, okay? This is the place of Muzdallifah where there are no tents. You are basically carrying your sleeping bag, and sleeping bags are required. And then you basically spend the night in Muzdallifah. You pick up the stones which we have gone through, okay? All right, so generally men cannot sleep while covering their heads. That's part of the requirement for ihram. There's no food available. You probably just saw in the video there was a tea stand. You can buy some tea, but you'll be fed enough in Arafat, honestly, that you will not feel hungry just for that night, okay? There are lots of lineups for bathrooms, so you don't have to wait until you have to go. You have to plan to go before you have to go. Especially in the Salat time, in the Fajr time, there's a lineup that will start at 3:30. If the namaz time is at 4:30, it will be 1 hour before. You will see a lot of people lining up, and you line up as well, okay? All right, okay. I'll skip the spiritual aspects, you can read. How long is the walk to Jamarat? Over the last few years, our tents are very far from the Jamarat. So you should be prepared to walk 1.5 hours one way, and then you go back, right? So this is, I'm just telling you the truth. This is what it is, okay? What we do is carry our water bottles and spray bottles. If you, all of you can write down spray bottles, if you're going shopping next time, get a small spray bottle because you can put water in it and then you can spray. It is really, really helpful, okay? So inshallah, I will go over this. I will remind you when we go for the Jamarat walk, okay? All right, okay. All right, okay, good. Okay, this is one of my best slides, which I cover every year, because this is in preparation for your trip. So our most comfort level is our home, our pillow, our bed, right, our home, etc., our biggest bathroom, cleanest bathroom, everything is in our home. Then we'll move to Medina. Alhamdulillah, the accommodations Medina is 3-star, but it's alhamdulillah very comfortable. For us who are coming from the eastern part or from Pakistan, India, alhamdulillah, it's good accommodation. Then the room size becomes smaller as we go into Mecca. Sometimes we also have to pack our suitcase, lock it, and leave it outside our door in Mecca. It depends on the size of the room, right? Then we'll go to Arafat. We'll still have tents on our heads. There'll be carpet. You open your sleeping bag, you sleep, but there is tent over you. Sometimes we are lucky, we get air-conditioned tents. Sometimes we are not, so it's a little bit of hot during the daytime, okay? Then we go to Muzdallifah. You just saw the picture. There is no tent. There is no carpet on the floor. You just open your sleeping bag. Then sometimes there are rocks. You take out the rocks. You put your sleeping bags and you sleep for the night, okay, after picking the pebbles, etc. And then we go back to Mina. There are air-conditioned tents in Mina, okay? Then you go back to Mecca, and then you go back home, right? So this is the trip. Now, Allah says as the comfort level goes down, the blessings go up. So Allah is looking out for you all the time in this trip, okay? All right, so what are some general trips? You know, we didn't have a medical lecture. We used to have a medical lecture, but there are 3 things. Drink lots and lots of water. You need pure liquid, okay, to keep you pure. You have to have enough sleep, okay? And number 3 is you take your medication and you rest enough. I think if you follow those simple guidelines, you will be okay, all right? Okay, so 5 hours sleeps I'm really keen on, because you cannot do cat naps 2 hours and then 2 hours extra. 5 nights is good. You decide your schedule. If you sleep at 10 p.m., you should be able to wake up 3 a.m. for Salatul Layl. It's given, okay, it works. Okay, if you decide to socialize and sleep at 1 a.m. and then try to wake up at 3:30, some of you who are going in a group, your friends will be waiting down for you in the lobby forever because you'll not wake up, right? So the idea is pace yourself, okay. Okay, as Sheikh Jafar says, okay, we have to do our to-do list, complete your will, pay up your khums, visit the graveyard, ask for forgiveness, okay? Very quickly. So this is bonus thawab territory. Remember, we are not going on a vacation. This is not Air Canada vacation, okay? So everything will not work on schedule. In living in North America, we are certain of 2 things. What are those? Death and taxes. And number 3 for this Hajj trip is there will be delays. So I can guarantee you there will be delays today. There will be logistical issues, okay? But whenever there is a logistical issue, whenever there is some kind of a hiccup, remember you are in the bonus thawab category. Allah will throw these ball curves at you. So as long as you are cool, you have enough to eat a little bit, don't worry, things will be sorted out, okay? So Allah loves the one who helps another Haji. Look out for that opportunity. Okay, Allah loves the one who likes to share. So if you have your snacks, okay, space in Mina is very prime. So if you share your space, you get bonus thawab, okay? Time. Somebody will ask you a question, okay? If you answer that question, it doesn't have to be all of us. You may know the answer. If you answer that question, you are sharing, okay? Allah loves the one who sacrifices his or own comfort for the sake of others. Always keep your cool. Delays will happen. Okay, Shaitan is there working overtime to spoil your perfect record. Okay? Always go out of your hotel with a partner or a friend, okay? Always go out with a partner. The reason for that is, yes, we know you can go anywhere, but if something happens to you, then it's easier for us to provide help if somebody is with you, okay? He can quickly or she can quickly call the volunteers who can provide help, okay? Okay, take enough rest. There is no competition in this trip. So you may have a roommate who will say, you know, I just went to the haram, I spent the whole night doing ibadat, and you will start feeling guilty that you are sleeping, and he or she was in the haram the whole night. Okay, remember, quality is important than quantity. Okay, everybody is different. Everybody has to balance their spiritual, drive, requirements, etc. Plus, the important thing is not to compete. Drink lots of water. We went through. Wash your hands before you eat. Very, very important. Okay, I know we are going in the haram and there are carpets, but a lot of people are walking on the carpets as well. The one way you can keep healthy is just wash your hands before you proceed for lunch or dinner or breakfast. Okay, practice walking. You cannot overemphasize this point. Okay, you have to walk. You have to do tawaf 7 times. You have to do sa'i 3.5 kilometers. Akil mentioned, and the walk from Jamarat to the tent is long. You may be required to walk from Muzdallifah to Mina. So lots of walking, lots of. There are no we cannot push around wheelchairs all the time, especially you have to walk, right? So just after Eid, this is a good thing to get fit as soon as possible. Okay. Prepare spiritually, as Sheikh Jafar said. Okay. The important thing is try to understand why you are doing certain ritual, why you are doing a tawaf, why you are stoning. As Sheikh Jafar said, you have to see because of the vices, right? It's not that you're picking the hardest stone to hit the shaitan. You're missing the point. People were throwing slippers in the olden days, etc., but they're missing the point. So it's important for you to know their logic. Okay? So do not worry. We will eat and drink whatever Inayat drinks. And this applies to any group leader. So any group leader, will make arrangements. But don't worry. It's fine. Do your part. We will do ours, and Allah will do His. So if you have to take prescription medication, you take the prescription medication, right? And then if you are sick, then things will be taken care of. We'll take you to the hospital and sort it out. But you have to help yourself by taking this prescription medication. If we tell you to drink lots of water, drink lots of water. Don't worry about the washroom part. Because if you dehydrate yourselves, you are creating issues for yourself, number 1. 2, for the organizers, okay? What happens if you get sick? We have doctors and pharmacists in the group. We'll carry most of the common medications. You have to carry your prescription medication, okay? It's very, very important. There are good hospitals in Mecca and Medina, so don't worry about that part, okay? What happens if I or you die? As mentioned before, best places to die. We have lots of connections with other groups, okay, coming from London, from Africa, from North America, etc., right? And they will bury me or you. We will not bring the body back. But this is one of the best places to die if this happens, right? Okay, very quickly. Here's a survey we asked all the previous Hajjis. What would be one thing would you do differently if Allah gives you the opportunity to go for Hajj or Ziyarat again? Okay. So the answer was not more shopping in Medina and Mecca. Sheikh Jafar said, yes, you have to shop, but don't put priority too much on it. More eating, shawarma, McDonald's, Burger King, Pizza Hut, Baskin-Robbins, Steak Express, Hardee's. Very common, right? It's okay, you can treat yourself, but remember, don't make it a priority. More drinking, all this fresh juice, Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, everything is there to distract you, right? Okay. So the main answer is I wish I could have spent a little bit more time in the haram. Okay. So I think with that we will end. And if any questions, you can again email us at smexg@rogers.com or Shakil Bhai as far as logistics are concerned. If you have any fiqh related question, I will send you the email of Akil Bhai, and I will answer that question. And if Inayat Bhai can come forward here to do the final logistics. As far as this group is concerned, but again, please feel free to reach out to your group leader, and I'm sure they can answer any other logistic questions as well. Go ahead. You had a question? Okay, so washroom facilities. I think in Medina and Mecca, the hotel we are staying are Western washrooms. In Muzdallifah, Arafat, and Mina, lately they've got more English washrooms from before. So I would say in a stall of 10 washrooms, at least 2 minimum will be English washrooms. The lineup for the English may be a little bit longer, But also there's so much water on the English washrooms because some of the Eastern folks use English washrooms, but they don't know how to use it. So they make it quite a bit of wet. So you have to balance najasat. But if you, for the younger guys, if you can practice squatting, it will make your life much easier because you can go in and out and less lineups. Even on the way from Medina to Mecca, most of the washroom facilities are Eastern facilities. Okay? But that doesn't mean that you don't drink liquids because you have to hydrate yourself. Go ahead.
I have a quick question, actually. Since I'm going with the 9 group,
Yes.
and some of the, logistic you were mentioning it was related to your group. For example, you're staying in a Medina, hotels in the Mecca, and some other question, for example, is the hour and a half walk.
Yeah.
That's related to your
Yes.
group.
The hour and a half walk is our group, depending.
My question is this, okay, how about our group? Do you know?
Oh, you're
No.
sleeping next to the shaitan. Don't worry about it.
I mean,
You're sleeping right next to the shaitan.
Okay, as far as the walk towards Jamarat is concerned,
No, I can answer your questions.
okay.
I'll answer this question once
So for the question was that how long is the walk? I said 1.5 hours. That's for our group. Some people who are traveling with other groups, they'll have to ask that question to the organizer in terms of where the tents are. Okay, important thing is be able to walk because over there, believe me, there's lots and lots of walking. Okay? Okay, please recite one loud salawat and we'll for Inayat Bhai to come here.
Assalamu alaikum. This is my regular passport, right? A Canadian will not like to see a passport like that because it's got sticker here, sticker here, sticker here. I said, this is Canadian passport. So what we'll do is once I give you a passport with all those stickers, you'll start taking it off. So my suggestion, leave it the way it is, right? So the way I've given you the passport, once you come back, if you don't like it, change your passport or whatever you do, but leave it the way it is. They will also put a draft in the back of this passport. Make sure you take the draft with you. So when you arrive in Medina and I said, okay guys, dump your passport, take out your draft, give it to them, please give it to them. Don't walk without it, right? We don't want to know about it. The draft is theirs. That gives us a right to take whatever they give us for the buses and transportation. It'll be difficult for me to go get your passport if you didn't turn in your draft. And it's all paid for. I'm just going to go by some of the things Habib has already mentioned. So from now on, start watching your email. Majority of us are on Turkish Airlines. We already covered that. Vaccination, you already taken it. So you have a book, the vaccination book. I will give it to you back with your passport. Make sure you bring it with you. And don't keep it in your suitcase. Otherwise, they'll give you another vaccination. Right? So just tell them, yes, you've taken this vaccination. In case they ask you, you have it in your hand baggage. Always carry a copy of your passport. I have it and you have it. Once I give you a passport with the visa in it, so I need you to take out a copy of the visa and your passport and keep it with you. All right? And then when you come back, I'll ask you to give me the copy of the same visa again so that you came out of that country without any problems. Once we get to to Istanbul, we'll have 4 or 5 hours or 6 hours. We'll change our flight, right? We'll just be together in some area. And then we will meet again and we'll go take our flight again. Once we come to Medina, I want everybody to be close by. You pick up your luggage, you do all your immigration status, and then you pick up your luggage. Right away, there will be people to help you, right? So there's nothing wrong. This is what the service is provided. If you want to give them a tip, by all means, give them a tip because they're expecting this, right? They will put your bags through X-ray machine, take it out, but you follow that guy where this is going. Doesn't matter that he goes this way and the bus is that way. So there will be people guiding you out there. In our diet group, go this way. There will be people waiting for us already. So that is very important that you don't lose your luggage, right? If it's a small handbag and it's one pull-out, you can take it with you. Once we get to the hotel, we'll relax. I know everybody will be so anxious to go to the Prophet's mosque. Right away, they are so itching to go. We've been traveling for 2 days. You're stinking, man. Go take a shower. Go enjoy yourself. Change your clothes. And then go visit the Prophet. And we'll make arrangements for you to go together. The first time we'll take you. The second time we won't take you. Second time you go on your own because it's so close. You can just figure it out how to get there. You don't need English signs. They're all nice signs. You'll just follow the road there. Everybody will be going the same way. I'm going a little bit faster, okay? Always carry the hotel card. Right? You always go with somebody and carry the hotel card. Carry your ID card. Let's say somebody's walking and he bangs into your head and you fall down. Nobody knows who you are because you don't have an ID. And we don't want them to bury you like a normal place, dump you. We want to give you a nice ghusl and kafan and so do everything for you, right? So make sure you have that card. They will call me. They say, hey, buddy, one of your persons cropped out here. Come and help. So we'll come and we'll do it the Shia way. But we'll do it. Don't worry about it. We have a lot of days in Medina, so relax. Don't do it all on one day. Lots of days in Medina. So relax. One day at a time. You do this, you do this, you do the shopping if you have to. There's no big deal. I will refrain. When men go to Jannatul Baqi or any of the shrines or any of the graves, they have a tendency of reciting du'as and loudly. They don't like it. So do it inside. Why do you want to upset the guy? Your intention is you're talking to, let's say you go to the grave of Hamza. You're talking to Hamza from inside you. Accept my salams, right? That's all you need. You don't need to start reciting tons and tons of things because they don't like it. And believe me, they will go after your books. And if you argue with them, they will do all sorts of excuses to hit you. Laundry service, don't worry about it in Medina. In Mecca, we have a laundry right across the hotel, right? And I get commissions if you use it. So please, use your laundry services there. Don't try to wash clothes in the house and all that in the hotel. The laundry service is not that expensive. It is all right. Merit certificate. I know a couple of the people mentioned they don't have merit certificate. That's bad news. Because maybe the women would not want to marry you guys again. Have you ever thought of that? Right? So I have found yesterday, I made a deal with one Maulana who will do merit certificate again for you. And the wife doesn't have to know whether you've done it or not. I know a lot of people want to marry again, but not the same wife. Yeah, another woman. But that's not going to work out. So please, whoever hasn't got a merit certificate, let me know. We'll sort that out. And don't give me a Canadian Tire merit certificate. That doesn't work. Somebody brought it to me today. Another thing too, the ladies, you know already who are the ladies in the group. The gents, you already know who are the gents in the group. So you can throw in an email that so-and-so, so-and-so, so-and-so. Like 4 people is our standard that we put them in a room. Right? In Mecca and Medina, we try to put 4 people. Maybe in Medina, if I get the 9th floor, there'll be 7 and 8 people. But everybody will have a bed. The reason I'm trying to take the 9th floor is I don't want to be a sandwich. We have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We want to make it all ours. So no strangers come up. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 will be owned by somebody else. But if I leave the 9th, then we'll be sandwiched in between somebody else on the 9th, and we won't get that privacy on the 8th floor that we want. This is the reason. If I get the 9th floor, the rooms will be a little bit larger, but believe me, my room has got 12 people, and we have 1 washroom, and we can manage it. There's no problem. We don't take a newspaper in the washroom. Simple as that. I need all of you guys to say your prayers in front of another person that you know knows the prayers. Also do your wudhoo in front of another person who knows how to do wudhoo. Because this way, you might be doing it for the last 30 years, but you could be also be doing it wrong. So this is the time to change it, to improve it. I'm still learning, mind you. But it's nice time to sit down with somebody and say, listen, watch my wudhoo, how I'm doing it. Right? It's very important. Did you cover that? I didn't. Right? Okay. Habib has said already a lot of times, help one another, help one another. That is the most important thing. that you see somebody struggling, help them. This is where, like, you already got your Hajj sawab. Even if you don't go to Hajj now, you already got your sawab. But you want to pass with honors, right? Not the regular pass. So this is when it counts. It comes in handy that you help one another, you take care of one another, right? And this is the most important thing that you can do, helping one another, right? I mean, when you walk out of the building, you see water bottle, right? Grab a bottle. We don't mind you, grab a bottle. Not just go in the bus 2 minutes later, can we get water? What happened to your last servant, right? So just grab a few bottles and take it with you in the bus, take it. And if you have snacks, bring it. Don't feel shy, we'll eat it for you. If you don't want to eat it, we'll eat it for you. But bring it, don't feel shy. Medication, a lot of people, I'm going to send that as an email again. Medication, if you have a prescription plan covered by your company, then I recommend, these are the most important ones. Cipro, zithromycin, and you can take some painkillers. This is very important that you carry with you. Even if you don't use it, dump it to me after you're finished. We'll send it to Pakistan or some other Africa country. The medication will take it away from us, okay? So it's very important that you bring this prescription medication with you. I know you're going to get a cold. I know you're going to get a cough. That's for sure, guaranteed.